scriptures, from Genesis to Revelation, was designed and written in parable language, in allegorical language, and all kinds of different language other than just straightforward language. Some of it's in straightforward language, but there's a lot of it that's not straightforward. Yeshua says, Yahweh says, both in the Old Testament and Yeshua says in the New Testament, says about speaking in parables. Why do they speak in parables? The Father and the Son. Why do they speak in parables? Because the intention is that you would need someone to teach you. That's the structural setup that they use, so that someone can explain. So he would give a parable, and then his disciples would say, please explain to us. If your skin's black, he made you. Your skin's white, he made you. Your skin's yellow, he made you. Whatever mix of color. He made all of us. Okay, if you're from Europe, if you're from Africa, you're from India, you're from Asia, you're from the US, you're from South, he made everybody. Stop bringing it into some sort of arbitrary, line that makes us versus them. Now, some will say, oh, but he tells us to be set apart. That's not for an us versus them. Okay, that's for an us inspiring them. We're to be set apart, and we're to hopefully set an example that might draw them to him through seeing our example. So it's not us versus them, it's us separate from them, setting the example so they might want to come and join and come out of her, my people, come out of the world, come out of all that nonsense. What is going to be the primary factor in people accepting the anti-Messiah? What do you think would be the primary factor in people accepting the anti-Messiah? I'll give you the answer without asking you. How much he's going to provide what you want. Okay? Which means Jew, Gentile, anybody has an opportunity to maybe buy into this anti-Messiah the more you are suffering and want, and that anti-Messiah seems to be the answer and cure to what you want. Because he's going to appear to come and fix everything for everybody before it gets terrible once he has control over everything. Because he has to appear Messiah-like. All right? And so if he does things the way the Jews expect, if he does things that also the way Christians expect, if he does things that matches up enough with everybody, he's going to get a lot of everybody's to follow him. Everything that Jews and Christians believe is based on faith. Why? Because we have a book. We don't have any originals. We have a book. We have those writings. These writings are not that old in terms of the copies that we have. And we're supposed to believe this is talking about the creator of the universe and the Messiah and all these other things. We do have some archaeological stuff that backs it up. There's other things that we find that backs up some of the things that these books say. But we don't have except a lot of claims by a lot of people. So where does faith come in? Where does your experience come in? Where does your interaction with whatever is the creative force over the universe? Faith is needed. Of course, the Jews will claim, well, we all heard him as a nation at Sinai. We don't have any record of that from a person that was actually there. We have the writings from way later that it happened. Like just normal people, like all of a sudden walking around. Because nobody said these people walking around look scary and like with skin hanging off of them or whatever. Okay, imagine they've been dead for however long. They weren't like out of a Michael Jackson video. You know. Okay? I mean, so why isn't it mentioned by anybody? Because again, if you go back to the parable language, where the point was that after Messiah resurrected, a lot of people had bubbles popped. And all of a sudden they're getting it. It's almost like, and I didn't say this morning, so you're getting a little extra bit now. It's kind of like the 70, when the anointing on Moses goes on to the 70 and they start prophesying. So it's like the anointing of Yeshua went on a whole bunch of people and they started walking around in a whole different way. Basically like they came out of death. You, on the other hand, he may or may not provide anything for if you don't ask for help when help's available. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
Okay? So if you are harmed, he's warning and says, my wrath will burn and I shall slay you with the sword. And your wives shall be widows and your children fatherless. He said, I'm going to punish the one doing the harm, but as far as blessing the one being harmed, he's saying, I will hear their cries. That part you need to cry out for. You need help, you need to ask for it. Okay? He needs you to learn to use the structure that you have. And you've experienced, and you just quoted that. Recently you came and got help, and it helped.
Yes.
Okay, and he wants you to learn that so that you experience that so that you keep going back and getting more. So there's two different issues happening here. Mostly what he's talking about here is, hey, be warned, if you do this, you're going to pay for it. I'm going to know. For the other side of it that you're asking, hey, you're going to be suffering in life, maybe you need to ask for help. You think it's clean when it's not clean. Master, master, we did all these things in your name. He's like, no. I didn't know you. You were doing lawlessness, but you thought you were doing right things. Look, I know I say a lot of things about Christianity. I truly believe most Christians think they're doing the right thing. I truly believe that they fully are making whatever effort to whatever they understand to do the right things, even though they're not. But in their mind, all their ways are clean. When they do Sunday, eat pork, do Christmas, they think those things are clean. They're not doing it thinking they're not clean. Okay, but Yahweh weighs the spirits. What spirits is he weighing? The spirit in man versus the spirit of Elohim. Okay, the above versus the below. The flesh versus the heavenly. Okay, the spiritual versus the worldly. I mean, that earthly. So he's weighing what's really driving you. So stop looking at the pharmaceutical industry as drug sorcery. Now, there are some terrible things that come out of the pharmaceutical industry, but this is not what it's talking about here. Drug sorcery. You got to go back to the world where they were using chemicals as sorcery. And it wasn't necessarily to heal people when they were sick. But you have to know people that were in that dark part of the world, what drug sorcery really is. Okay, it was used to get some sort of advantage, dominance, power. Is that not correct, those of you that would know? Okay? And so the merchants were also about dominance, control, and power. When it says about the merchants of the earth, the great ones of the earth, and the drug sorcery. So stop using that as a way to attack the pharmaceutical industry just because you've heard other people do that. All right? There's some very, very good reasons why life has gotten longer, and a lot of it is pharmaceutical. Horrible things happen to people. And you know what? Some people never get past it and others do. I don't know the secret except it has to do with how they have chosen to understand that where they are now is not where they were then. Yes, that stuff happened and it was awful, whatever it was. I mean, if you're still traumatized many years later, it must have been really horrible. Okay, I'm not going to minimize that at all, but it's not happening now. And all you're doing is empowering whoever did the terrible thing to you to continue to do horrible things to you, at least up here, because you're still reliving the trauma. Why are you letting that person wreck your life? Well, because they did wreck my life. No, they did terrible things to you then. You can reset your life. Yeah. Okay? It is possible to reset. Other people do. We don't need the signs and wonders if we're in belief. We don't need the signs and wonders. And by the way, you do get signs and wonders already. Okay, I don't know if I should put it this way, but some of the things that come out of my mouth are a sign and wonder. The insights of piecing certain things together are things that you've never seen or heard before because they're miraculously from him. The times you come for counsel and the insight that you have no idea even how to put the words, and I say, that's okay, I know where you're going, and then, I elucidate the situation, and you look at me like, oh my gosh, that's it. Those are still signs and wonders. Those are things coming from above to build and strengthen your belief, okay? They don't have to be like these huge signs, we get small ones all the time.